Welcome to the virtual real estate happy hour experience with my friend Shane Wetzel. I am your host, Rob. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, on this YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to share this content. Make sure to smash those likes. Comment below. Engage. We love engagement. And when you do subscribe, hit the notification bell and select all. So to kick this off, real estate. My great friend is a massive contributor to the Western real estate market in Canada. He is a mogul. He runs an empire that he helped build. This is no joke. An extremely hardworking man, is a contributor into the Western Standard. Of all things, welcome to the show, Shane. How are you?
I'm phenomenal, Rob. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, so, since you've been last on the studio, we talked a bit about your background, how you emerged, how you helped your father build the company when he started it. He named it after you, how you were actually chosen as president by a unbiased board to take over the company inevitably, and you won unanimously, which is a testament to all the effort and hard work and brilliance that you've put into this. So what's new with you, bud? I mean, there's so much going on in real estate. There's inflation. Real estate's booming. Prices are rocketing. Man, we don't even know what the dollar's doing. They've printed so much of it. So what's new with you in this whole state of really massive uncertainty?
It's still business as usual, but, and then we were still experiencing supply chain issues like we were the last time we talked, Rob, and you're still dealing with labor issues too. I think this movement to work from home or not to work at all is still alive and well for some reason. I don't know why, because there's great opportunities out there for people, better than what you've ever seen before. So that's always going to be a challenge, but I mean, we're up for it. It's trying to manage those cycles internally and still turn over a product that you're proud of to put your name on. But, for me, I've never seen so much economic unrest, I mean, if a journalist asked me, what do you think is going to happen the rest of the year? I couldn't tell them what's going to happen, past the end of the month at times, because who the hell knows? I mean, we were talking earlier on, you and I, about what was driving things back in 2020. Because you come out of a lockdown and you think things are going to be slow. Well, it takes off. So there's pent up demand in there, and there was also some fear buying. People buying because they don't want to be locked down in their apartment anymore. They want a property with a backyard and more room and space for an office because they can work remotely. And you get into 2021 and you begin to see less of that, and you see more investors hopping into the marketplace here in Calgary and in Alberta. They see this as a land of opportunity to one, you're going to see some people move here because of affordability, but two, you're seeing people buy here because they can turn around and make a quick buck when the home is ready and turned over to them.
Yeah, and it's, wow, there is so much going on. But Calgary is a land of opportunity. It's one of the few provinces that open up a fair bit more freedoms. I mean, some people, the mask lovers, would be on contentious debate. And in no way am I an anti-vaxxer. I was jabbed 3 times. I don't think I'm going to bother with number 4, to be honest with you. But maybe, who knows? But for now, I'm just going to sit on that. But there's a lot of opportunity in Calgary. And now with oil, this government took such an anti-oil stance. And now with the war in the Ukraine, and I was just reading today, countries like Bosnia-Herzegovina are 100% reliant on Russian oil. And Russia's cutting them off. They're cutting off Poland and these other countries, which are like 89%. Ridiculous. Germany, 40% dependent on Russian oil. And this country obviously has to do an about face against all their climate change philosophies, their green initiatives, and they have to turn the taps on. And doing that is definitely going to be a boom in your city. It's definitely going to be a boom in Alberta. I can see this happening. And given all the calamity, one thing we can say is the oil commodity will help stabilize the economy. And
Yes.
it's certainly going to stabilize the
You know,
province that's
it is a
producing
great
it.
opportunity. I mean, although we've diversified the economy a little bit more over the years, and especially the last two, I mean, oil and gas is still a major driver. And you know, I don't understand at times this thought that you know we can just shut off the taps tomorrow and we can move on from there because it's next to impossible. You have a ton of consumer products, you know, and we can speak to it even from homes. You know, a lot of the products in your homes require oil and gas products to complete. You know,
Yeah,
so
or
I
to
mean,
heat your house. I
is it
mean,
is it there in the future? Sure, I think you're looking at least you know probably another 30, 40 years of oil and gas playing a significant role in our lives until there's alternatives, and that takes time. So yes, I do
yeah,
believe the same
yeah.
thing. They've got to back off this whole attitude that we're shutting off the taps and then you know by 2030 and that's all there is to it because it's not realistic now and the war is a good pivoting point for you know why it's needed, why you need ethical Canadian oil and gas distributed to the world. I mean, what a huge opportunity, especially to cover off a trillion plus in debt.
Yeah, and you think about it, if I was Klaus Schwab from the World Economic Forum, I'd be hiding right now because things are turning rapidly against that
Yes.
whole delusion of you'll own nothing and be happy. You're going to be in some social economic dystopia that you know the elites rule you. There's a cashless society, so you're
Hmm.
enslaved. I mean, this is just scary that this is even being discussed, but at least we can get back to real estate and one asset you can own that's physical, like gold and silver. It's not virtual like crypto, which
Yes.
I think has its definite attributes and benefits. Real estate, nothing really beats it. So, getting back to that, how is the housing market doing in Calgary?
Excruciatingly well. I say
That's
excruciating,
good.
you know, because it's hard to manage. You know, again, you're used to you know you know a nice average flow with a simple up and down cycle, and that cycle hasn't existed for the last 2 to 3 years. So it's up, 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 and a little bit down, and you know, I mean that's created other supply issues as you know as new land. You know, a lot of us are running to the end of it, and we might have a you know 2, 3, 4 month gap where we have nothing, literally nothing
Wow.
available to sell.
Well, I know lumber supplies and building supplies got exponentially more expensive
Oh
too.
yeah,
This is all a factor into housing.
lumber is
Um,
this.
you, yeah, and you know this is supply chain disruptions. One fault of this country and of the Western world in particular, you outsource everything to China, a
Hmm.
dictatorship, ridiculous again. But you know we should be producing a lot more of our own goods and services, and I think that's where we're going to get back to that. We're going to have to, and this is going to stabilize things in the economy quite a bit too. Pricings will get corrected. It'll make things more accessible, more affordable. Because,
Hmm.
correct me if I'm wrong, but a big chunk of the housing price right now that's also spiked, as well as you know reckless currency printing. You flood the market with currency, everything goes up. But
Hmm.
supply chains have been a chronic issue for pricing too, haven't they? Because of the cost of goods and services
Oh,
and of skilled labor.
immensely. Like if you consider getting one of the you know one of those large containers you see shipped on boat from China. I mean, you know, those used to be about $4,000 each to ship over. Now they're $28,000. You know, and that's just you know
Wow.
that cost ends up being added on to all the products in there. But you know, even to your point,
Yeah,
Rob,
and yeah.
manufacturing back here in Canada, you know, appliances are a big issue. The vast majority of products for your appliances are produced in China. Well, when you can't get those products, you can't complete an appliance. You can't put it in a home because it's not approved to be. So we've seen backups there, and I mean, it's created a lot of turmoil. And I don't know if I was hopeful by now that we would have been through it, but we're probably still 6 months to a year away from seeing any improvement. And even by then, I don't think it'll be 100%.
Yeah, it's almost like a deliberate ploy to disrupt and make the middle class and poor super poor. You know, like you got to wonder who's at
At
the helm of
times,
this
yeah.
ridiculous thinking. And with one thing we do know, the lockdown in Shanghai's had a massive influence because Shanghai's the largest port in the world now for shipping.
Yeah.
And I saw an image or a visual, and there's literally thousands of container ships in
Yes.
the harbor, not going anywhere with cargo on it.
Well, yeah. When you see all those dots on the map, you can hardly see Shanghai.
Yeah,
So I mean,
because
there's
of the
another
cargo ships.
disruption, and why?
Yeah, so it does explain a lot to the viewer as to why housing has gone on average from about 400 some odd $1,000 a house in 2015
Hmm.
to 800 some odd thousand. The other part, of course, you hit the currency button, you print
Oh yeah.
recklessly. You have the same or fewer goods and services in production. Well, everything gets absorbed by those new dollars. They don't just magically disappear.
Well,
I mean, this is basic economics. And I know you write about stuff like this and you talk about stuff like this. And we're going to share something here because
okay.
Shane is a key contributor to the Western Standard. And we're going to bring this up. And I believe in this article, I looked at this article, and it was pretty cool because you talk on the Western Standard about the net zero housing strategy will add to the housing affordability crisis.
Yes.
And this is some government policy coming in. So if you do this, how does this affect us long term, you think?
Oh, I guess part of the reason I feel so passionately about it, I'm just going to step it back, is, when I was younger, I was in school. I did a research project on R2000 housing, which some people might be familiar with. And that's basically what this is. Now, the reason R2000 was abandoned back in the 80s was that the houses couldn't breathe properly. People weren't maintaining the equipment within the homes. And effectively, they kept holding in moisture, and you get mold behind the walls. So that's the first part of the concern here with net zero, is getting the homes too tight and people not maintaining the equipment to allow them to breathe properly. And even then, it's still questionable. But where I get really annoyed with it is that we're dealing with a housing crisis here in Canada. And I mean, Canada and USA, but Canada primarily because we've seen such a large price escalation. Even the IMF has identified that Canada is about 1.2 million, 1.3 million homes short of where we need to be. And yet we're still plugging through more immigration than we ever have before, but we don't have anywhere to house them properly. So
yeah.
In the meantime, we're dealing with all these other issues over here when it comes to supply chain issues and labor issues. You got immigration happening over here, and you've got the government moving forward with, we'll call this basically their version of the carbon tax on housing, with their net zero targets on homes. That's going to add $40,000 to the cost of a home. You amortize that over 25 years on your mortgage, then it might as well be $60,000, and there's zero return. You're not going to see energy savings to offset that cost at all.
It's great to bankrupt the poor if you've got a ton of money. You can just go shopping, but this does not benefit 95% of society at all. This is to their detriment, and it's completely unsustainable.
Well, and I think that's part of the problem, because people think, geez, it's just new homes. It's like, no. If new homes go up by $40,000, your used homes will go up by $40,000 as well. So, really, for what the government threw out in their budget is peanuts compared to what they're trying to add here. And there's no pun intended, no net benefit to the end user for any of this. If you could spend $40,000 and save $80,000 on your energy costs every year, sure, it would make sense. But to spend $40,000 to maybe save $4,000 or $5,000, it doesn't make sense. It's ridiculous.
Insanity.
Yeah. You want to make a bigger impact in Canada, then you come up with a super large tax credit for people to renovate their old homes, and they'll do it, and you'll make more of an impact in a shorter period of time. And you're going to bolster the economy too, because the renovation business in Canada is over $50 billion a year. You do something like that, like the tax credit I'm talking about, you'll have $100 billion happening a year in business. Government makes tax money off that.
Well, you got to remember, this is the same government that took away your fitness credits and sports tax credits for kids, and taxed vitamins and minerals right away in 2015. Yeah, you know what? It's sunny ways, sunny days, right? Or sunny days, sunny ways. It's just lost and dazed. I call it lost and dazed, not sunny ways. So it's like it's a haze of marijuana smoke flowing through 24 Sussex Avenue.
It makes you wonder at times.
On that
note, you wonder at times, Rob.
A laugh. And it's the happy hour. Cheers to you, my friend. I know you got a glass of Oban in front of you.
This little thing?
That is a great single malt scotch. Love it. Nice and peaty. I think it comes from Isla. I know it's briny. Usually those briny scotch, it's a sour mash beer that creates it.
Yeah.
It's distilled twice to take it from an 6 to 8% alcohol brew to about 63%, and then distilled down or watered down with distilled water to about 45. And it keeps a lot of more of the raw impurities that are still there over distillating it a third time to like 98% purity. So that is the beauty of scotch. I love the smokiness in it. On a happy hour, cheers to you, ladies and gentlemen. I have a Rioja Campo Viejo.
Yeah.
This is what we used to call a Joven. This has really no aging category, a category to it. This is under a year of aging and oak and bottle. Not meant to cellar. This is meant to drink right away. And I love some things like this because it's inexpensive. It's like $12 a bottle for this stuff. Nice and fruity, dry, goes really well. A nice acidity. It comes from 3 areas of the Rioja region. You've got the Alto, Alavesa, and Baja, and it goes in degrees of altitude, and it's higher, cooler elevation than much of Spain. So you get these drier, crisper, cleaner wines. And really, it's got a bit of spice note to it, like American oak. Sorry, I'm ranting about this one for a second, but I love it because you got a lot of rich cherry on the palate. You always got a bit of notes of subtle dill that come up as a herbal characteristic. And this goes really well with things like chicken parmigiana. It goes well with chicken pastas, things like that. So it's just medium cheeses, a great thing to have, and cheers to you, my friend. Now, moving along, what technology is coming up in the real estate space? I know virtual homes and virtual home tours. We showcased that last time on your website. Is AI coming into the marketplace? My last guest is an AI specialist, and I know it's disrupting the marketplace because we have a labor shortage. And if you can use AI to enhance the tools at the fingertips of an employee, speed up the time of contact to sale to customer, you reduce admin costs, you probably reduce some of your admin staff. Some of them aren't showing up anyway because they think it's a permanent holiday now. I mean, it's like it's so hard to get labor. But you're also actually able to raise wages because of these things too. Are you implementing anything like that? Are you looking at anything like that?
We're taking a look at the applications right now, Rob. What we've been busy on over the last 6 months is putting into place, build-in price for new homes online. Like literally, you can buy a home online now. And we just launched that this weekend.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we just launched that this weekend in one of our projects. Up in Airdrie, and you can put together the deal. You can verify your identity for FinTrack to keep the government comfortable with who's buying it, and you can get your mortgage approval online too. So this is something that we worked on with a group called Only for the past couple of years, and boy, oh boy, I mean, does it appeal to everybody? No, it maybe only appeals to about 17% of the marketplace who want to do this, but at least we're doing our best to try and accommodate what they want in a purchase. So, we're excited to see it going, and we definitely got a lot of inquiries, and even took a few offers on the weekend. So, I mean, it's been fun, but now we still have to focus on everything else in an IT strategy, and AI is definitely one of them that we're looking at.
Well, I think you're going to rock it. I know you're keen on tech. You're keen on social media. You're keen on how to leverage technology to sell. This is brilliant because if you're an investor out there, what a brilliant idea. I can be on my yacht in, Fort Lauderdale, pull out the computer, go, wow, I want to buy a home in Calgary. I hear it's a thriving market. I got some Canadian friends. I'm in oil and gas. Why the hell not? And I'm loaded. Yeah. Let's look at a house. Punch it in and you're like, what? The virtual house tour? I can buy a home. I can spec this online. I can actually pre-approve this and get this rolling before I actually fly to Calgary. This saves extra time and distance if I'm an investor. And again, that's getting back to technology, using things to brilliantly turn over your product at a much quicker rate. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and some people, I mean, if there's anything good that's come out of the last 2 years, people have become more comfortable with purchasing online. And that's why I say this isn't for everyone, but it's for a certain segment of the marketplace who are
No.
very comfortable doing it.
Yeah, I say the same thing with virtual wine and beer tastings and the virtual dinner party experience in partnership with the brilliant company Cheftorial that I'm proud to be a part of. We do the same thing. And, not everybody is going to, going to reach out and just want to do things online all the time. But there's a permanent segment of the market that's a huge segment of the market that's permanently shifted this way. And because, like you said, who wants to travel all over the place? If it's not leisure, who wants to do this anymore?
Well, time is so important. So that's where I think what you're doing is great.
It's critical. Hey, thanks, brother. And on that note, we're going to close the show, but we're going to show where to find you. I know you're particularly active on LinkedIn. You are a huge contributor in the Chamber of Commerce and the entire Western business community. I mean, you have really evolved into a mogul. I think this is awesome because you're such a down-to-earth and cool guy, too. You're an active member of the LGBTQ community. You support your friends on both sides of the house, support them everywhere. You're an engaging fellow. You're about as real as you can get. I'm blessed to know you. Cheers, my friend. I highly recommend everyone that's watching this, you reach out to Shane. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end the share here. This has been a terrific happy hour experience. Whatever you decide to do, have a terrific day. This is Rob and Shane from The Drunken Grid.